Hey guys, I'm Joshua Vidovic from Vidovic Arts, and today we've got some more undead things. More undead things. That's right, we have some skeletons. Now, I know I've made skeletons in the past, but they were like undead knights, so they had like full set of armor. These guys are just skeletons. These ones right here aren't just skeletons, they've got armor on, but I have made them without armor. So I know I said in the Necronator video I can't really print skeletons with my printer, and that still holds true. Now, I have a big announcement to make. I have actually managed to get a new printer, a resin printer. It hasn't come yet, but it is coming. So hopefully I can start printing some much more finer quality prints, like skeletons without armor on. So both of these will be available on Thingiverse. This one will be the one that I'm showing off, and I might make a video for the skeletons without armor on the resin printer whenever that rocks up. So let's have a look at how these were made to start off with. So the end product here is actually modeled over on ZBrush, but I began this on Maya, and I started at how I start most projects. I just started modeling. And I've already got a skull that I use for a lot of projects, and yeah, I was going to use that as the head. But as I went through this model, I slowly decided that this might not be the best method to get the model that I want in the end. It came down to making the actual pelvis. I couldn't get what I wanted out of the modeling program, and I kept trying. I really did. I probably spent around an hour on this entire first step, and it didn't work out too well. So I eventually took it to ZBrush. Now, ZBrush, for those who don't know, is a sculpting program, and I started these models out of spheres, which is a really cool, for anyone who knows how to sculpt anything, you start off with a ball of clay and you can sculpt it into whatever it is you want to do. You can do the exact same thing on ZBrush, and that is exactly what I did. So the skull, the rib cage, the bones, like the main bones, and the pelvis are all sculpted in ZBrush. Now, I did that with the sphere, and I slowly worked it out, and as you can see, it's just a brilliant program for this kind of stuff, and it ended up really awesome. So I went through, made the pelvis, and I based it on a lot of photos from or drawings and stuff of like medical pelvises, so I could get it as close to as possible as the real thing. And when I worked on the rib cage, I knew I didn't want to make it the entire rib cage. I just wanted to make it 4 or 5 ribs and be done with it. And I was really happy with the end result. It's not hollow, the rib cage. It's actually one solid piece, so you could technically print out this as its own, and you wouldn't have to worry about that rib cage having that hollow inside section. The skull as well, I started with not having a bottom jaw, and I later came back and I sculpted in a bottom jaw, but that was later on. But the skull, I wanted to make him a little angry, because I've got this other skull, and it's not so angry. It's got the deep eyes, but it's not an angry looking skull. So I changed up the model a little bit and decided to make a bunch of angry skeletons. Now, the end result of the modeling process was a-okay. I was absolutely happy with it. The bones, I think I wouldn't traditionally do it like this. I would have just used a cylinder and built it from there, but I decided to see where I could actually take ZBrush, and I used a sphere to make the elongated bones, and for your arm bones and all that kind of stuff. And it turned out really good. I'm actually happy with it. But like I said, it was an unnecessary step, but it looked cool. So the end product was actually putting all the pieces together over in Maya and posing them. So I got all the pieces in, and I decided that the top half of the skull needed a jaw, bottom jaw. So I went back into ZBrush, I sculpted a whole bunch more into it. The teeth are probably a little too detailed for my printer to pick up, so they don't really come out on the print. On my print, you can't really see the teeth, but they're there. You know they're there. They didn't pop up too well. And yeah, like I said, I put it together in Maya and posed it, and we've got skeletons now. Now, like the fingers and the toes and stuff, they weren't sculpted in ZBrush. They were just made in Maya out of cylinders and a whole bunch of different little shapes. And I'm happy with it. I actually really am happy with it. I am waiting to get this printer to see how a normal skeleton without armor on looks. Now these guys have armor. I sculpted the shield in ZBrush, but the print it didn't do too well. So most of the shields are actually broken. Because these guys are meant to be in a dungeon somewhere and they're long since, seen combat, all their gear is starting to fall apart. I assumed their shields would be damaged, so I kind of got lucky because they're skeletons. If they're anything else, this wouldn't be acceptable. But I went with it, and I say it's battle damage. Now, I want to kind of make tiny little arrows to stick into their shields and into them as well to make them look just a little bit more, battle torn and you're damaged and all that kind of stuff. I think they're cool. I think if you can manage to print those shields, they'll look 100% better. But yeah, the end result's really cool. Now when it came time to printing and painting these, I used that matte black undercoat, and I went in and I decided to paint the bones with like a flayed one flesh, and I'm not sure if that's the color what it is now. This is a very old tub of paint. But I used this paint on most of the bones, and I just used the brown on the armor and the clothes and stuff. And once that was all done, I literally just used Agrex Earthshade to go over all of it and add that layer of gunk and dirt, and that was it. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit lazy with painting, but the end result I'm really happy with. This is an awesome shade. I know it's kind of like the contrast paints. This is probably what started up the contrast paints, to be honest. But it's really awesome, and it gets your characters looking really cool, really easily, and without much effort, to be honest. So, if you want to paint skeletons up, definitely get yourself a tub of Agrex Earthshade. I know there's a couple of YouTube tutorials that that show you how to make shades for a lot less than these cost, so definitely look those up if you want to paint some skeletons. Now, I also have another piece to go with this. That is a bone pile. So right here I have just a pile of bones on a base, and it works really well as a bone pile, which for our current D&D session we needed a bunch of bone piles, so I printed up a bunch of bone piles, as you can see. Now, I didn't actually print the dirt and stuff like that around the edges. I went in and I put in like a thin layer of PVA glue, and I dunked it into some sand and stuff, and I painted it around, and it looks really awesome. I'm really happy with those bone piles. So these will also be available on Thingiverse in a different link. These skeletons will also be available on Thingiverse, and the skeletons without armor. So if you're coming from one of those pages, if you want to find any of these other objects, you can over on Thingiverse in the link in the description below. So we come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching so far. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to support the channel by subscribing. Thanks again to all my patrons over on Patreon who are supporting me, and yeah, you guys are just amazing. Here they are on the side here. And yeah, hopefully we can get some more models pumped out. I've been working non-stop this week, so I have some more models coming out, but I kind of want to keep it a secret because I know my D&D party might be watching this, so they're going to get a little bit of a hint as to what's going to come in the next session. So I kind of have to release them on the day that we're going to be doing it. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, stay awesome. See ya.